الحمد لله رب السماوات والأرض رب العالمين وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. صل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمين على وحيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything we have, and we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our needs. وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِّعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. And all our needs are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we need to do our best to pray to Allah, first of all, to express our gratitude for all that He has given us, and to pray for all our needs, because all our needs are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including rizq or provision. فَابْتَغُوا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الرِّزْقَ. First of all, Shala Eid Mubarak to everybody. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all our days and grant us all our good wishes and ease all our matters. And inshallah make it a blessed year, inshallah, for everybody. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant safe return for the pilgrims, those who perform Hajj this year. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, when we study the Quran, or in this life in general, we are expected always to try to discover our weaknesses and try to fix them. Our shortcomings and deficiencies, and try to fix them. And they say successful people are the ones who capitalize on their strength. They know their strength and they leverage them, but also they know their weaknesses and they try to work on them. And Quran tells us, when you study the Quran, you will see yourself in the mirror. It will tell you that reveal or detect areas of weaknesses that you need to work on, and also areas of strength that you need to consolidate and preserve. Today, I'm going to be reflecting on one verse that is basically, even though its meaning, its exact meaning in the surah may be about special category of people, but I'm going to talk about the general meaning. In this verse in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. Say, Prophet, should we tell you who has the most to lose by their actions? The biggest losers, whose efforts in this world are misguided. They are on the wrong track. They are astray. Even when they think they are doing good work. So people who are not doing the right thing, but they think and they insist that they are doing the right thing. These are, again, Quran calls them the biggest losers. And we're going to see why they are the biggest losers, what are the characteristics of these people, why they end up doing this, and also we'll be talking, inshallah, about how this we can protect ourselves against this, and how we can help those who have this problem fixing it. These people, they exist in public areas, like people who are in charge, rulers, presidents, kings, etc. They may be causing a lot of damage, and they think they're doing good. And they exist also around us. Average people, very regular people, they also can be doing the wrong thing, and yet they think they are doing good work. What are the characteristics of these people and why they do that and how to protect and save ourselves from that? One is these people, they tend to think that whatever they do is good and right. And they're ready to justify it, even if it takes arguments. If you try to have any discussion with them, it turns into argument, because there is no point. They think that anything they're doing is good, and anything they're doing is right. Quran says about these people, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. You tell them that when it is said to them, do not cause corruption in the land, they say, we are only putting things right. And we know that's unfortunately the case. So they think that whatever they're doing is good and right, and they are ready to defend it, even if it takes hours of argumentation. They are not willing to change course or to make any changes or adjustments, regardless of the damage that they may be causing with their behavior, because they think that's correct and right. They have no intention, no willingness to consider different options or to change course or to make any adjustments. They don't accept advice, they don't even listen. They don't accept advice and they don't even listen. Again, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. Tell them this is causing a lot of damage. Just try to reconsider, change course, think about alternatives. Say, no, this is the right thing to do. You don't understand. This is the right thing to do. And why they do this? Because they think they know everything and they're expert in everything. This word of I don't know or I was wrong, it's not in their vocabulary. It's not in the dictionary. It doesn't happen. As a result of all of this, these people, they tend not to learn anything. I mean, just put yourself in their shoes. If you think that everything you do is correct and good and right, and if you think that you know everything, so why you learn? There is no incentive to learn anything. I'm talking about a phenomenon that is very widespread in Muslim culture, by the way. Very widespread of people who are in this dilemma. And even though there are many sources available for them to learn nowadays, online, they may be surrounded by people who are knowledgeable, people who are wise, they don't learn from anybody. They are not willing to listen. They don't think they are missing anything. They don't think that you can add anything to them. So they don't benefit even from the sources that are available to them. As a result of all of this, and I'm talking about phenomena again that I was exposed to in our community here, destroying relationships and destroying families just because of this attitude. As a result of all of this, communication with them becomes impossible. Why? When you ask spouse why you're not communicating, or between parents and children, say that it's useless. It's any communication. These people, they don't listen. They are ready to argue, to defend whatever they are doing. And every discussion with them turns into argumentation and turns to proving that you are wrong. So people start avoiding any communication with them. And people, even the close people around them, they end up usually avoiding them and they end up losing people. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا. قُلْ هَلْ نُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِالْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا. Because if you don't benefit from all the sources of knowledge and wisdom, if you lose people around you, that's big loss. If you cause damage to the relationships and to your families and your environment and your circle because of this behavior, that's of course they call them the al-akhsarina a'mal. If on top of this, these people are astray in terms of religion, then it becomes even worse, because in this case they will lose not only this life, they will lose also the hereafter. So they may be losing khasir al-dunya wal-akhirah. They may be losing both just because of being stubborn. And remember the argument that people used to reject the message of all prophets was what? That we found our ancestors doing this, and we're sticking to our old ways. We're not going to change. It's that attitude of sticking to your ways, even if they're wrong. Even if somebody proves to you that worshiping idol is bad, is wrong, you shouldn't be doing it, still, just because that's the old ways, you are not willing to change. A lot of leaders of Quraysh, they knew that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was right. They know that he was a prophet. But it is this attitude that prevented them from accepting his message, including Abu Talib, who defended him, knowing that his nephew is right, but he could not accept his message. Why? Because sticking to the old ways. Deen al-aba wal-ajdad. This is the way we found our ancestors doing business, and we're going to continue doing that. Wrong, right, distracted, it doesn't matter. We're going to continue doing this. And again, unfortunately, that's the attitude that we are talking about. These kind of people, they end up causing a lot of damage, including to themselves. They are the biggest losers. Not only they cause damage to people around them, but they cause also damage to themselves. Now let's shift to talk how we protect ourselves from this attitude and how we protect our children. How we make sure that in the same way that we want our children to be protected against diseases, we want them to be protected against this, because this is very damaging to them. If they adopt this attitude, it's going to be very damaging to them. The first thing that can help us protecting ourselves and our children from this disease is to remember and accept that life is a journey of learning and improvement. As long you are living, you are learning. And as long you are living, you should be improving. No matter how good you are, there is always room for improvement. No matter how much knowledge you have, there is always room to learn more. And you can learn even from a kid. You can learn from someone who is illiterate. They can give you lessons of life that you don't get it in any book. So remember that as long you are living, you are learning, and you are improving. And you should never reach a point where you say, what I have is enough. The knowledge I have is enough, or my character is good enough, or I am a good enough person. There is always room to make adjustments and to improve. Also, we have to know that truth and wisdom is not something that you're going to own at any moment in your life. It's something that you keep chasing. Truth, Rasul ﷺ in a beautiful way describes al-hikmah, dallatul mu'min. Wisdom is the lost property of believers. So you should be always looking for wisdom. Always looking for the truth. And you should never believe that what you have is the truth, or you have all the wisdom that is there, or all the knowledge. So, al-hikmah, dalat al-mu'min. You should always be after wisdom and after truth. Thirsty for knowledge and thirsty for wisdom. Number 3, humbleness. You should really be very humble and flexible and always ready to make adjustments. Always. Should be very flexible, should be humble, flexible, and ready to make adjustments. By the way, that's a sign of strength, not weakness. When you acknowledge your mistake or you change, you do course correction, that's a sign of strength. That you are very confident in yourself, that you accept that this part is weak and you are fixing it. But if you're trying to claim or convince people that you are perfect, you're embarrassing yourself, because nobody is perfect. You embarrass yourself and you make yourself, you put yourself in a very bad position when you try to project an image of perfection, that you are someone who doesn't commit mistake and who is never wrong, who knows everything. Then you don't do yourself a favor, you actually embarrass yourself. So humble, flexible, always ready to make adjustments. And never be happy with what you have. Never be content, actually. Never be فرحوا بما عندهم من العلم. Quran says. Quran denounce the people that when they were given something new, good, they say what we had is enough. فرحوا بما عندهم من العلم وحاق بهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون. That a messenger comes to them with something better, they reject it because they say what we have is good enough. قال أولو جئتكم بأهدى مما وجدتم عليه آباءكم قالوا إن بما أرسلتم به كافرون. These people, they say what we are following the ways of our parents and grandparents and ancestors. So the messenger say, how about if I come to you with something better? They say, even if it is better, we're rejecting it. قال أولو جئتكم بأهدى مما وجدتم عليه آباءكم قالوا إن بما أرسلتم به كافرون. Even if it is better than our ancestors' ways, we're not taking it because we are happy with what we have. Number 3 or 4, not only you should be always willing to accept advice, you should be actually looking for it. A wise person should be looking for advice, to pick the mind of somebody else. Somebody else has different experience, read different books, and here he is giving you the result of that experience or that knowledge. You should be really looking for advice, not only ready to accept it. رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي. Beautiful. Saying that you thank or you are grateful for someone who draws your attention to some of your weaknesses. Why? Because so that you can fix them. So he's doing you a favor. The person who comes to you and point to some areas of weakness in you, is doing you a favor. Shouldn't take it personal, and you should not be offended. You should thank them for that. In the same way that you thank a doctor who draws your attention to a physical, to health problems early so that you can fix it. Somebody draws your attention to areas of weakness, is to thank you, so that you can start working. رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي والمؤمن مرآة لأخيه. We should be like a mirror for each other. So, should be willing always and happy to accept advice, and also should not hesitate to give advice. Should never hesitate to give advice, and you should be happy to accept advice. Speaking about being humble, we all think that our opinion is correct. There is nothing wrong with this. But I invite all of us to adopt the approach that Imam Shafi'i summarized it in a beautiful statement when he says, رأي صواب يحتمل الخطأ ورأي مخالف خطأ يحتمل الصواب. I have a discussion with you, you have different opinion. I always should think that my opinion is correct, but it might be wrong. So there is that possibility. And so far, I think you are wrong, your opinion is wrong, but it might turn out to be right. That's humbleness. It's not like my opinion is right all the way, regardless of what. No, it is. I think it's right, but it might be wrong. I mean, I might be wrong. That statement, train yourself on saying it. This is what I think, but I might be wrong. It's not the end of the world, and you are not speaking Quran. Your opinions are not Quran. So this is what I believe, but I might be wrong. There is nothing wrong with this, and you should train yourself on doing it and feeling this way. You are not perfect. You will never be perfect. Your knowledge is not complete, and your knowledge will never be complete. وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Just go to any bookstore and look at all those books in those fields and just check yourself how much do you know out of all of them. That's one bookstore. وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. So you respect yourself and should be very comfortable saying, I don't know, I have no idea about that field, I didn't read about it. There is nothing wrong. That doesn't take anything away from you. You may know some things, you may be expert in one field, but there are so many things that you don't know. And you should not be offended or should not be reluctant to say that I don't know or I didn't read about that. وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Again, remember that successful people are those who know their strength and they leverage them. And they know their weakness and they work on them. Not cover them, they work on those weaknesses. رحم الله امرئ عرف قدر نفسه. رحم الله امرئ عرف قدر نفسه. That person is a respectful person, the one who knows their limitation, they know their strength, they know their weakness. And be prepared to admit shortcomings and mistakes. Again, that's a sign of strength and self-confidence. When you say, I was wrong, or I don't know, that doesn't take anything away from you, that's a sign of strength and self-confidence. Most scholars, they say about Imam Malik and other scholars, that most of the questions they were addressed to them, their answer was frequently, I don't know. And these are scholars of Islam. They used to say, I don't know, more than the time they answer questions. We're very comfortable to say, I don't know. And when they answer questions, they say, that's what I came out, that's the conclusion I reached. Never say, this is the absolute truth. This is what I came up with. After my study, this is what I came up with, but that's not the end, or that's not the absolute. Now that's for ourselves. How do we raise our children so that we can protect them against this problem? The best way to teach your children anything, not only this, is by example. If a child is raised in a family where the spouses are dealing with each other the right way, communication, respect, admitting mistakes, etc., that they're going to learn it without you making any effort. If a child is raised in a family where every communication turns into argumentation, then it's hopeless. You're not going to teach them anything. You can't tell people to do as you do. You cannot tell people to do as you say. You cannot be failing here and then trying to ask your children to avoid a problem that you have. So by example, the way spouses deal with each other and parents deal with each other, and the way you deal with your children. If you are, since early ages, train your children to listen. You listen to them. You listen to them and you train them. You remember always that for your children you are a teacher. So you are teaching with everything that you do, because children are very good observers. Even before they learn how to speak, they are observing and they are connecting things together. So if you train your child early on that to listen to them and respect their opinion and have this healthy conversation, that's the best training. If you raise your child and always suppress their opinion and always impose your will on them without even convincing, then you're going to probably get them to fall in this problem. This is, in general, how we can avoid this disease. I'm telling you, it's causing a lot of damage to relationships and to families and to communities. One person with this disease can cause so much damage to themselves and to all people around them. But we have a surah, the whole surah, that tells us how we can avoid to be in loss. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. By the fading day, man is deep in loss. We're talking about losers and loss, except for those who believe, do good deeds, urge one another to the truth. Urge one another to the truth and urge one another to steadfastness. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Imam Shafi'i says, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed only this surah, would be enough for people, because it has all the elements that can protect people from being in loss. Iman, amal salih, tawasi bil-haq, tawasi bil-sabr. Iman, amal salih, tawasi bil-haq, tawasi bil-sabr. Inshallah we'll come back to the surah today, and inshallah in next Jumu'ah, wa tubu ilallahi innahu ghafurur rahim. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه، نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, this surah of Al-Asr can be read in two ways. One, very superficial. Unfortunately, majority of people, that's what they do. Very superficial. العصر إن الإنسان الذي خسر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. I have iman, I'm doing some good deeds, I'm fine. It's much deeper than that. So it really worth dedicating the whole khutbah, inshallah, for Surah Al-Asr at least. What is iman that is meant here, that will protect you from being in loss? How to maintain that iman and always keep it up and refresh it and renew it and upgrade it? What is amal salih? Is it only like spare time or spare money when you don't find anything better to do? What is amal salih? What is tawasi al-haqq and tawasi al-sabr? The four criteria or characteristics that will protect you from being in loss. Inshallah, we'll come back to them with more details next time. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وتوفنا وتراض عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك وامتعنا اللهم بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربونا صغارا وارحم موتانا وجميع موتى المسلمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وأقم الصلاة.